Good evening. My name is Evangelist Phyllis Marshall, and I bring you greetings from my pastor, Bishop Dr. Edward Ramirez of Harvest Church in Paterson, New Jersey. It gives me great honor, and it is truly a privilege to be able to stand behind the desk of Dr. Rod Parsley. So, this evening, I want to share a message entitled Joint Efforts Equal Big Results. And it comes from the topic of fasting and praying. We know that as children of God, our form of communication with God is through prayer. And the word tells us that we are to pray without ceasing. So that means we should be praying about everything, in everything, through everything. But it also states in, I believe it's Matthew 17:21, where you can pray, you can have faith, but there's only certain things that are going to come out when you add fasting to it. Fasting and prayer together is a powerful weapon to move mountains victoriously, but obedience will always be the most important key. Now, we have to be aware of the type of fast that pleases God and what we can accomplish in God through prayer and fasting. According to Isaiah 58, verse 6, it says that God chooses in the fast to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo heavy burdens, and to free the oppressed and break yokes. Prayer and fasting, they go beyond just you. Without going into the beautiful book of Esther, the entire, because that's a big book. So if you have a chance, you can go ahead and read it. It's beautiful. But when you look at what we're focused on for this evening, to sum it up, there was a hit placed upon her people, the Jews. Now, there was a decree that was set forth by this evil man named Haman, and he even got the king to use the signet ring to seal everything, not knowing what the king's wife's culture was. And this decree that was set forth was to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, which would include Esther as well. Now, Esther had a cousin named Mordecai. That's who helped to raise her, and he was at the king's gate, and she could tell something wasn't right about him. He was in sackcloth. He was mourning. She knew something was going on. She even sent clothes to him to change into. He would not. So then she finally had to inquire, what is going on? And when he shared with her the decree, he also shared with her that she was in a position to try to do something. So she told him to gather all the Jews that were present in Shushan, because that's where they were, and they were all going to fast food and water for 3 days. It would be including her and her maids as well. And she needed to do that because she was going to need to have some favor to go into the presence of the king to get this turned around. She had not been summoned to him, she said, in about 30 days. So if you just, appear in the inner courts and you have not been invited, it's illegal. You could be put to death. And she knew that. But she was willing to put that fast forward, the fasting and the prayer, with all the Jews, which I'm sure was a powerful thing coming up to the Lord. And she went, got herself together, got all adorned, went into the inner court, and he extended the scepter to her. So she put her hand on top of it, and she was able to come in and share what was going on. If the favor had not been granted to her, she would have been put to death. But she said she was willing to risk it, and she stated if she perished, she perished. But thank God she had wisdom. Thank God she was obedient. Thank God she actually knew exactly what to do. So your obedience in God's omnipotent omniscience will bring desired results. God did move on her behalf with favor from the king. Esther was granted the opportunity to share the evil plot against her people, the Jews. The plan to kill the Jews was plotted again by Haman, who actually had the whole thing turned against him once she shared everything that was going on. He, along with his 10 sons, ended up being hung on the gallows that he had prepared to hang the Jews on. What a turn of events. And the Jews were given the right out of all of this to kill those who would come after them to kill them. How powerful was that? Queen Esther incorporated the help from her people, the Jews, to save her people, the Jews, through fasting and prayer. Haman's plan to annihilate them was averted. God, in his infinite wisdom, knew her obedience. So this divine appointment and deliverance was already in alignment before she even knew what was happening. But just know the outcome would have been different had she not been obedient and fasted and prayed with her people. We serve a truly amazing God. Time to press in and push away the plates. Amen.